What made Sammy the Bull such a good underboss?
What?
What made Sammy the Bull such a good underboss?
Nowadays, well, in those days, Sammy actually did the work himself, or primarily most of the work Sammy did, he had others do it. But he has done work on his own, no question. Uh, but he was a hell of an earner, making a lot of money, tons of money for the family. And nowadays, that's it. You don't have to do the work today. Today is earn money for the family. And, that Michael Franchise, he made a ton of money. And he's got between 50 and $100 million put away. And I don't know where it is today, but I know initially it went to Panama because I know the lawyer who made that arrangement. And he never paid the government or anybody. So there's all sorts of games, and games are played every single day in the life. And it's like a dear friend told me in prison. And this guy became the boss of the Gravano family. When he was getting transferred out of Brooklyn, he says, Ori, when you get out, get back to California. Don't freaking talk to nobody. You got a good life out there. Forget about these people here. He says, everybody's a freaking rat. And he's true. He's correct. I mean, there are so many informers on the streets in Bensonhurst that they're taping each other.
There's more informers than police now in America.
Right. And, years ago, the FBI and the LAPD, OIC used to follow me around. They don't have to leave their offices. They know what you're doing today. They don't have to follow you around. I used to have to dodge them. I mean, I know they follow me, and they used to like to follow me because I eat in the best restaurants. But, I mean, it got to the point I pull up, I give my car to the valet. I know there are a couple cars behind me. I walk in the front door. I walk out the back door, had somebody wait, and I'm gone. And they're in the restaurant, and they can't find me. I mean, those were some of the things that I had to do and I was a free man. But
you mentioned being well respected in the prison system. How much time did you do? Was it state or federal?
Federal time, I did 60 months.
Did you get SWAT team raided, or did you just have to turn yourself in?
No. You think they ever allow any of us to turn ourselves in? I haven't seen it happen. I knew the day was going to come because Sonny called me to New York when his son, Johnny, went missing. I was one of the last guys talking to Johnny. Johnny was working at a rehab home down in off Washington in West LA. And Sonny asked me he was going to buy a car from somebody in the program, and Johnny called me. He got picked up from Glendale. I'll bring him to you, Uncle Lori. I'll be there tonight. And at nighttime, he calls me. He said, look, the guy don't have it ready. I got to stay overnight. I'll see you first thing in the morning. Next morning, I'm calling, no answer. His mother's calling, no answer. Sonny's calling. Me, Sonny, and the wife are on the phone. And all of a sudden, you can't leave no messages on Johnny's phone. Johnny just disappeared. So after a while, Sonny asked me to come into New York, and we had a meeting at my hotel. And when I flew into New York, Sonny always stayed with me at the Warwick. I always had a suite, and always had a place for Sonny. He always stayed with me. Because him and his wife, although they loved each other, just didn't get along. And she constantly throwing him out. But we had a few guys over. We discussed the disappearance of Johnny. And, they say that might have been the time and place where Sonny put a hit out on his son Johnny. I can't confirm that nor deny it. But I was leaving the next day. Sonny's driver came, picked Sonny up. I was flying back to Los Angeles. My driver takes me to Kennedy Airport. I check in. I always got to stop. I go up to the gate, and then I'll always sneak in the men's room and have a cigarette before my flight. When I walk out of the men's room, there's two young kids. I call them kids. They were young guys. They go, Ori. And my first impression is that when I look at these guys, maybe they're on the same flight and they were friends of my son that I didn't recognize. And I go, yeah, FBI. And I said, oh, we'd like to have a word with you. And they take me to the side. They said, look, you could stop looking for Johnny. Johnny's with us.
Oh.
So now I know where Johnny is. I said, well, I'm going to call their parents, Johnny's parents, and let them know. We prefer you not to. I said, that's his parents. No matter where he's at, they got a right to know. And they said, look, we're going to give you, this is your last chance. You come to work with us. You could join us too. Otherwise, this is going to be your last flight on a real airline. And guess what? They were correct, because my next flight was on Con Air back to New York. So, and Johnny did testify at the trial against me, his father, and everybody else.
Which jail did they buck you into?
I was in a Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn.
Is that, it's called the MCC these days?
No, MCC is a Metropolitan Correction Center. That's
Okay.
on Pearl Street in Manhattan.
So what?
MDC is in Brooklyn.
Gotcha. What year were you? What year were you booked?
What are you saying?
What year were you arrested?
2006.
So what was it like going into the jail in that year?
What?
What was the jail like in that year? What was it like going in?
You know, it's something that I knew eventually was going to happen, but you hope it don't. I never dreamed that I would be brought in with all the Italians on a Colombo racketeering case. Because I'm a resident of Los Angeles, California. Have been for 40 years. And, you know, when they arrested me and they came to my home, they had me in the cuffs. They said, why are you arresting me? They had distribution of cocaine. I laughed at them and I said, I'll be out by dinner time. And I was. 62 months later. I know, I still did not know it was a RICO, and they brought me downtown Los Angeles. That's where they booked me. And then I remembered when the FBI, they took me in, they had like 27 agents surrounding my building. Just to take one guy. I was 63 at the time. And when my attorney came, when I had to go for a hearing, his face was white. And he always told me, my attorney was Danny Bruckman, great guy here in Los Angeles. He always said that if I got caught up in one of those cases, he wouldn't know how to represent me and couldn't. And he came, he's got this freaking indictment about this thick, and he's white as a ghost, and I see my son and my bail bondsman waiting for me. And then he shows me an indictment, and I see all these other names. Some of the names I did not even know. But there it was, a RICO indictment. And then, of course, the FBI said that there was a warrant out for my arrest, a bench warrant. There was none. So I couldn't get bail in Los Angeles. And my attorney got pissed. He said, 'cause Danny took care of everything. If I threw a cigarette out the window, which I did once and I got a ticket for it, he took care of it. A warrant? Where'd this warrant come from? No warrant. So I said, all right, extradite me. And it's just a mindset. Once I got in prison, boom, okay, that's what it is. You know, it's not nice, but, you know, I'm going to get out. And then when I seen all the other charges, I didn't know the seriousness of them. But I was facing life in prison, especially with that cocaine charge. I mean, it was 50 kilos or more.
Wow.
It was a bullshit thing, never took place. All instigated by an informant. But it becomes an indictment. It was never going to happen. But, and I got back to Brooklyn my first time in court. U.S. attorney gets up. We'd like to apologize to the courts and to Mr. Spado because Mr. Spado does not have a bench warrant out for him. They mistaken him for somebody else. Yeah.
The games they play.
The games they play, nobody could really understand it. Nobody understands it.
Unless you've been in the system.
Unless you've been through the system. And now I couldn't get bail. I was denied bail 4 times, saying I'm a violent person. I got friends in England. I could flee the country. God damn it, man. I mean, you know. And my peers are not in Brooklyn, New York. My peers are here in Los Angeles. But they don't care. It don't make a difference. Because what they say the constitutional rights are, they don't pertain to you once they arrest you. Forget it. Throw them out the window. You got no rights.
Exactly. My bail was $750,000 cash only. So my lawyer comes in, asks for a bail reduction hearing. We get it. We get the hearing. Prosecutor sabotages it. Judge doubled the bail to 1.5 million cash only.
Yeah.